Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sean and I'm a clinical dietitian. Today we are going to be reviewing nutrition support calculations. So if you are going to be getting into the dietetics field or you're a new dietitian and you want to review some nutrition support calculations, then these videos are for you. So please feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way it gives me some motivation to keep making these videos for you. So today we're going to be going over just a very simple basic nutrition support calculation. So here in our hypothetical patient, they need 1700 to 1800 calories, 80 to 90 grams of protein, and 2000 milliliters of water. We're going to be using this formula here by Abbott. This is Jevity 1.2. This is a fiber containing formula. Now, when you start off working at a hospital or any other facility that does nutrition support, they will have a formulary on hand. And that's a list of all of the nutrition supplements and tube feeding products that that facility carries, as well as the macronutrient and other nutrient information regarding those formulas. But for these videos, I'm going to make it nice and simple and post that information right here. So you can follow along. So make sure you have your calculator. Now, before we can actually do the math, you really need to know two equations in order to do these problems successfully. And I've written them down here. So in order to figure out what rate we're going to run this formula at, we're just going to do a simple rate-based calculation. You're going to take the calorie needs for that patient divided by the concentration of that formula, divided by the run time that that formula is going to run. So for our rate-based equations, we're just going to assume that the tube feeding is running for 24 hours. I will do future videos on different kinds of nutrition support programs like volume-based, bolus feeds, cyclic and nocturnal. But for most of these beginning videos, we're just going to assume a continuous 24-hour rate-based feed. That will give you the rate that you should run that nutrition support formula at to meet their calorie needs. Now, sometimes that rate's going to come out weird. It'll be 83 or 77. It won't be a nice whole number. And when we do our orders for nutrition support, we want a nice whole number. So in order to know what our regimen is going to provide in terms of macronutrients, as well as some other information that nurses need to know, we're going to use this second equation down here. So on this second equation, we're going to take this rate and we're going to round up. We're going to round up to the nearest whole 5-digit number. We're going to multiply by 24 hours in a day, assuming that we're running it for 24 hours in a day. And then we're going to divide by 1,000. And this will give us what I call our multiplier. It'll tell us how many liters per day that patient will receive given our new rate that we rounded up to. And we can use this multiplier with the information from our formulary to determine what macronutrients will be provided for that patient at this rounded up rate. So let's go ahead and put in some numbers. I have a green marker here, which I'll use just to fill in these numbers so you can see how these equations work. So the calorie needs for this person, we're going to start on the low end, because remember, we're always going to round up. So for the most part, we're always going to round up. So we're going to start on the low end of the calorie needs, because when we round up, it'll meet at least those calorie needs. So we're going to do 1700. We're going to use this concentration here. That number that you see at a formulary, whether it's a 1, 1.2, or 1.5, that's going to let you know how many calories per milliliter that formula has. So Jevity 1.2 has 1.2 calories per milliliter. And remember, 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. So a 1 liter bottle of Jevity has 1,200 calories. So our patient needs 1,700 calories. The concentration is 1.2. We're going to divide by our runtime of 24 hours. And that's going to give us our rate. So 1700 divided by 1.2 is 1416 divided by 24, which gives us 59. So 59 milliliters per hour running for 24 hours will meet their calorie needs with Jevity 1.2. But again, we're not going to write this nutrition recommendation using 59 milliliters per hour. We're going to round up. Let's round up to 60. So 60 mils an hour for 24-hour run time for our rate based is going to give us 1440 divided by 1,000 gives us our multiplier, which is 1.44. And that 1.44 means this patient is going to receive 1.44 liters of Jevity per day if we run it at 60 mils per hour. And what we do is we take that 1.44 and we plug it into our formulary. So up here, 1,200 calories per liter is what our formulary tells us. We're going to multiply that by 1.44. They also get 56 grams of protein. 1.44 and 807, we're going to drag this down. 807 times 1.44. So let's do the math on that. 1,200 calories per liter, but they're getting 1.44 liters. So multiply that. That's going to give you 1728 calories. Protein-wise, that's going to give us 81. Sorry, we're all kind of crammed in here, but it gives you 81 grams of protein. And then our water is 1162 milliliters. Cool. So let's recap. We've got our energy needs. We've got our formula. We're going to run it through this equation, and then that's going to tell us what rate we should use. We're going to round up, and then we're going to run that number through the second equation to tell us what the multiplier is. By using that multiplier with our formulary, we know what macronutrients will be provided with this regimen. So the way that our note will read in the electronic health record is recommend Jevity 1.2 at goal rate of 60 mils per hour to provide 1,728 calories, 81 grams of protein, and 1,162 milliliters of water. Now, there's a couple different ways we can do our flushes, because remember, every nutrition support regimen has to have flushes to keep that feeding tube open. Now, we're going to dive into flushes more in future videos, but for the sake of keeping things simple, just do 60 milliliters Q4-hour flushes. That means that this patient will receive 60 milliliters of water every 4 hours. That's what that Q4 hours means. It means every 4 hours. So every 4 hours means they're going to get flushes 6 times a day. So they'll get 6 times a day, they'll get 60 mil flushes. 60 mil flushes Q4 hours. We'll keep it nice and simple. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you want to see more content, check out some of my other videos. By now, hopefully I've posted a bunch more. So thanks again for watching. Cheers.